What's up, babes? Welcome back for the more in-depth version of the live that we did. Okay. So, I always use a number 4 stitch, which is a zigzag on my sewing machine. You want to find a nice zigzag. You can see the zigzag over there in the corner. If you need to pause it to see what I did, then do so. But it went pretty fast, and I'm going to pop the same thing up on the screen periodically throughout the video. So for my first couple tracks, I like to pin down the cap to keep it from sliding, so I know exactly where the first track is going to go. So more than likely, a lot of the time, I will pin down the first 2 to 3 tracks. Well, I'll pin down the cap to do the first 2 to 3 tracks. So for the first track, I'm only going to use 2 pins. And yes, babes, I do use pins because it will help keep your shit in place. Okay? I'll say that again. It will help keep your shit in place. It will help keep your tracks in place as well as the cap. You will have no shrinking, no buckling, no mess. Okay, hunty? All right? As long as you follow the steps correctly. So when I pin them down, I pin cap with cap. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please refer to the previous video where I showed you exactly how to pin that down. I'm not going to do in-depth part, which is why I have everything in steps for you to practice everything before you even get to the actual wig itself. Okay, babes? So, I am using a zigzag stitch on the ends. I do back stitch 3 or 4 times. Remember the stencil, hunty. Okay. So the PDF, you can download it or you can draw your own and do your own. But that is the direct guide on how I sew absolutely every single track down onto the cap. So I back stitch back and forth on the wig on the ends, and then in the middle I basically just zoom through that with a number 4. So I'm going to show you exactly what that is. And you guys remember I was on live and I was showing you exactly how the tag was coming along, which I end up ripping out, remember, but I end up redoing it again and showing you, babes, exactly how I did that. Because when I first put it in there, it didn't really, I mean, it was really cute when I first put it in there, but upon working with it, satin is really like fragile to work with. So upon working with it and doing the wig the rest of the time, it started messing it up and just started unraveling and coming apart. So that's how my first track looks. So I'm gonna go ahead and pin down that next track right here. I'm not gonna go where the my nameplate is going to go, well, my name tag is going to go. I'm going to go slightly over that. So I'm going to pin down this corner, and again, babes, I'm doing cap with cap. The best way to do cap with cap is to just push the pen straight down into the canvas head. That way you know you got that pen right back into the cap. You don't have to worry about bending it around and bending your pens or anything like that. You don't have to worry about any of that. And yes, babes, I do cut absolutely every single track, especially if I am doubling them. I honestly can't tell you the last time that I did not cut a track. I did not cut a bundle up to make a wig. I always do this. I always go through this method. It's just, it is what it is. Like, it makes everything 100% flatter and seamless. I don't like trying to fold over the bundles when I'm doing this on the sewing machine, because you can break your needle. I'm not interested in breaking my needles. Okay, babes? Like, I know y'all seen a live where I broke a needle because I was going too fast. And I think this might be where I broke the damn needle. Who knows? I hope it isn't. But yes, always keep extra needles on hand. I like to keep a minimum of 30 needles on hand. Not because that's what I'll go through, but honestly, you just never know. Like, you just never know. And then I have like other people that come to me sometimes for needles. I don't sell them all the time. Like right now, I'm not selling any of my needles. Sorry. But after the pandemic, yes, I do sell my needles. Okay. But yes. So now I'm switching the setting to a 4.0 and a 7.0, which all that means is I'm turning my length and my width all the way up for this for this wide stitch. Instead of it being medium size, I'm turning it up to large. It's everything is large. So turn your length and your width all the way up if you don't have this computerized machine, if you have a regular machine. And as you can see, that will pull this wig through this sewing machine a whole lot better versus you using that really small stitch on there, and you don't want to do that. So another thing I like to recommend too is take the pins out when you are first starting off. You'll see me run over those pins, and that's because I've been doing this for so long. I know how not to nick those pins, and know how not to mess up my machine or my needle. So I will run over those pins just because I know to stop right there before the pin, and then slowly go over the pin and then zoom through the rest of the wig. That's just what I do. When you're first starting out, please take the pins out just because you are not skilled in this yet. So it's not the chances of you breaking your needle on your sewing machine are very high, and the chances of you jamming your machine is very high. You don't want to do that. You also want to be going really slow. Like, I sped this video up even after the live, because remember guys, we were on live for like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, something like that. But and I, of course, this video is like highly sped up. So with that being said, yeah, just please be careful. Go slow. Go at your own pace. If you have to, just go extra slow, then do so. It's there are no rules. You work at your own pace, everything. And as you'll see also, I don't use guidelines, and I'm showing you guys on live how I do the guidelines. I literally just measure everything by my fingertip. So, and also with this wig, I did this wig a little bit differently because I've usually put 4 bundles into my closure, but my other bundles weren't going to arrive until a few days afterwards. And then that will also, if I would have waited to make this wig, it would have also put me behind on my orders, which technically this is inventory. So inventory just means that I pre-make the wigs and then I put them on my website for selling. That way, that's 100% profit. I don't like to pretty much do custom orders anymore, just because to me it's kind of a hassle, and then I'm just over the point of people changing their minds. But that's another story for another day. This is not to say that I don't do custom orders. I do. For my most loyal clients that have always gotten custom orders from me, they can always come back and do custom orders. But anybody new, unless you're willing to pay top dollar, I'm not doing custom orders. You can order directly off the website, and it'll ship to you next day. But yes, as you guys see, if you see me toggling through the stitches at the top, please don't just be confused by my words and everything that I'm saying. I'm not trying to distract you, but please make sure that you are paying attention to that stitching at the top when I am switching between those molds, because that matters. Oh, the other thing that I was going to tell you about this wig too is those bottom 3 tracks that I have on there, all of those are 1/2 inch apart, and it's because I want the bottom to remain really thick, as well as once I get to the middle part of the wig, all the rest of those tracks, until I break them down to singular, all of those are 1 inch apart, and it's just to stretch the hair. That's literally it, because like I said, I didn't have enough bundles to complete this wig and another wig. I mean 3 is more than enough, honestly. For me, for my preference, I like to squeeze 4 bundles into here, so I'll usually do those all 1/2 inch apart. But when you have 3 bundles and a 4x4 closure, or even a 5x5 or a 6x5, you pretty much want to just go 1 inch apart when it comes to those type of wigs. Now, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I need to write a chart for you guys to tell you to show you exactly what how much hair goes into each kind of wig, because every wig is not the same. You will not make every wig the same. You will not create every wig the same, and it literally just depends on the preference of you, what you like to make, and your clients, your fan base, your audience, and what they like. Because not everybody that I run into that like my wigs want 4 bundles. A lot of people will just request 2 or 3 bundles. You know, I like to recommend and tell them, like, no, you need this amount of hair, but I'm not going to tell anybody how to spend their money. But as you can see, I already did one singular track. You can see that right there. And I'm going to show you exactly the settings of that as well, because the settings of that track is a little bit different than the double tracks, because obviously it won't be as wide as the double tracks, just because it is smaller. I don't want it that wide, because then the probability of it slipping through that stitch is very, very high. So I'm going to do a small stitch right here, okay, hunty, and I'm going to cut that off. So I just pinned that down. Like I said, you just want to go cap with cap, cap with cap, cap with cap. Please remember that in every one, sorry, I'm going so fast. I'm talking so fast. Please remember that every time you're trying to pin down a track, cap with cap. And like I said, if you don't know what I mean, please refer to the video above. It's going to be titled cap with cap, how to pin the tracks down on the cap. So cap with cap, cap with cap, cap with cap. Okay, babes. All right. So I used a cap, fucked up that cap, used some extra hair. No, I didn't fuck it up, but just for teaching purposes, I just showed you guys exactly what I did. All right, babe. So I slid that through. And I know somebody had a question about that. How do I slide that through? Honestly, to me, it's very easy to slide it through. With the closure wig, you want to remove that extra shelf on your sewing machine. Is 100% easier. I promise you. I promise you. So same deal, babes. I backstitch it. As you can see, I just backstitched it twice. And I'm switching my settings all the way up to 3.5 to 3.5. So both of these are medium setting, but is wide enough to capture this entire width. So you see, I zoomed through that, right? So that's the whole point of expanding the length. You'll zoom through that track, and when you get to the end, the only part you should be spending the most time on is those ends and making sure those ends are secure. In no way do you want someone to be combing through your wig and the tracks start coming off. Like, I mean, it's kind of one thing when it's hand sewn, and sometimes hand sewn wigs can have gaps in them. That's just normal. And some people are heavy handed. They can comb through those tracks and pop them off. We don't want that. So avoid that exact same thing happening with your sewing machine wigs. Just go ahead and make sure that you are stitching those ends down correctly, because the middle is normally fine. But what I find is a lot of people don't back stitch those ends, and back stitching just make sure that you are stitching over those ends about 2 or 3 times to make sure that they are 100% secure to that cap. Okay, hunty. All right, so see you guys in the next video. The part 2 is showing you exactly how I finished the top of this wig. And you babes, love you guys, but see you in the next video. Okay, all right, go there now.